Hi gang, this is Mike G from Mr. GTV and MrMikeGarner.com, and on this journey I want to talk about breathing, which is something which keeps us alive but we don't think about it. I've done breath work for many years, starting with my martial arts journey from being a 19-year-old wimp, basically unable to fight, unable to defend myself, finding the world, particularly the centre of Manchester, working outdoors as an AA patrolman, quite threatening to me. Maybe not to some, but to me, who was quite sensitive, creative, not particularly sporting in those days. I found myself working in areas that I personally wouldn't have chosen to go to, but I was sent to do breakdowns, to fix cars, at all sorts of times of day and night. It was scary, so I went to a jiu-jitsu club, eventually ended up doing mixed martial arts, and I was very lucky really that I was taught by people who understood psychology, physiology, energy, and I got into breathing. All that grunting and shouting when you punch doesn't only put fear into your attacker, it puts power into your body. It's called a ki. When you punch, you shout ki, and it comes from your lower diaphragm, exactly the same place where you want to send your breath when you're doing Zen breathing. It's called diaphragmatic breathing or fetal breathing, and it's so natural, but it's something that we can access as and when we need it in our everyday life. And because I got interested in energy for fighting, and I got into mindset training for coaching through the District Sports Council of Wales, I put myself on some leadership courses so that I could be a better coach, and I got fascinated by human potential. In fact, it was my manager, a Mr. Chris Flynn, who introduced me to Brian Tracy, because he'd been on the Tracy training program, and he gave me some of his books, and those changed my life. The Psychology of Success. And I went on that journey. I studied his books, I studied my own books. I'd already done Qigong and Tai Chi and Jiu-Jitsu and Kung Fu. I was just moving into doing more esoteric stuff, and then I got involved in healing. So breathwork meditation is very sustaining, empowering, balancing, healing. It's extremely powerful, and yet when I was doing it, apart from the fighting aspects, it was mainly women who were in those breathwork classes, those meditation, stillness, healing classes. It's not like that now. It's not like that now. That's an ambulance that's just gone past me. It's not like that now. What you've got is you've got the ability now as a man to access things that in the past would be considered girly or feminine or not manly, ladylike. These expressions that don't really exist now, apart from in the consciousness of old school people like me. And then you had men's stuff that women are doing now, and quite right. There's no reason why we can't use our feminine energy and our masculine energy, and we can power up our feminine energy with breath work and our masculine energy with breath work, and not just allow it to automatically trigger because of the activity that we're doing. I'll give you an example of that if I was doing something artistic or musical or particularly empathic or maybe spiritual, it would excite my conceptor channel, front line of my body, considered my yin energy. Now I can breathe into that when I want to access that, and I'm not particularly feeling it, or I'm doing something that would actually trigger my male energy. I can actually use my breath and direct my breath towards the energy centers in my body, the chakras, and the hara, the dancing, the houses where those chakras live, and excite that in me and get the best out of me. And I can use the breath as a tool to direct that energy and get that enhancement, access those extrasensory perceptions and powers. And equally so, I can power up and do something to give me more male energy up my spine line, my governor. And we see a lot of that, don't we? We see, you know, it's not just in karate where you grunt and groan and ki when you punch. You know, you quite often see tennis players, male and female, serving aces from the baseline, and you'll hear them shout as they serve. You know, you'll hear weightlifters grunting and breathing to psych themselves up to build power before they do a jerk lift. You know, before they raise the bar above their head, they'll breathe, snort, pant, shout. And we cheer people on, don't we? You know, we verbally, come on, you can do it, you know. And that's you exciting your breath and raising your vibration through the spoken word, projecting it towards somebody, which motivates them. It accelerates them. When you cheer somebody on, it's directed and focused towards them, and it's breath and vibration and voice. We can do that to ourselves. We can talk to ourselves. We can psych ourselves up. We can also calm ourselves down, slow our hearts down. We can power up certain parts of our body for enhanced performance when it's needed. That's called iron shirt in martial arts, where you actually put on mental armour. You know, you wouldn't have a wooden breastplate or a metal shield or a coat of arms, but you could actually focus your energy and withstand blows. Called iron shirt. You're actually stripped to the waist fighting, but if somebody punches you, the punches just bounce off, because in your mind you're visualising that you're wearing an iron shirt. This is focused chi energy, where you can break things, move things, levitate things, resist things, project things, attract things through breath work, as you breathe out and as you breathe in and as you focus your mind. We are magical beings, and very few people know about this, and even less explore it, and even less master it. I wouldn't even call it 1%. It's literally 0.000. You know, the real Zen masters, the real yogis, the real Reiki masters, ascended masters, gurus, Sufis in the world. There's lots of people talking about it, gurus. There's very few people doing it, what I call durus, with no ego at all. I consider myself an apprentice guru. Some things I can do, and I've demonstrated it. In fact, I've just recently put on a couple of videos on my YouTube channel, Mr. GTV, and the Facebook page, Mr. GTV, where you're possibly viewing this. And I think it's the 30th of December now, 2021. So on the 29th and the 28th and the 27th, there's two videos where I'm moving objects, flipping coins, changing the polarity of my body, and working with a pendulum, where I'm using yin and yang energy. I mean, it's tangible. You can see it, you can feel it. If ever you meet me, ask me to demonstrate it, you'll feel it. Literally electric touch, where I can spark up my auric field and focus my energy into a finger and then touch you on the forehead and give you electric shock. I mean, my kids used to say to me all the time when I was practicing this many years ago, used to say, come here, I'll give you a kiss before you go to the school. And they'd resist, because quite often I'd be so highly charged, give them a kiss and they get electric shock from my lips. There's a discharge of energy. You might have experienced it yourself when you touch the car, or you maybe touch a doorknob or something like that, or you touch a shopping trolley and you get static. It's called EMFs. It's electromotive force. It's the energy of you. It's your auric field that expands well off your body, and you can direct that with your breath. Breath work is phenomenal. Through the breath we can get control of systems within us that are dormant powers, ESP, extrasensory perception, using our mind and our breath. And we can also connect to other people. Literally with every breath we're exchanging molecules with everything. Every breath in, you're breathing in everybody else's out breath, and as you breathe out, you're exchanging molecules with everybody that ever is, ever has been, and ever will be. Because in this capsule, this planet Earth, this ecosystem, nothing escapes. Everything just transforms, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, earth to earth. So in a handful of soil is history. Powerful, that, isn't it? And you're breathing this. And just because it's thin air and you can't see it doesn't mean it's not full of information. In every gap between your fingers, wherever you put your hand, is Wi-Fi, data, radio signals, messages waiting to jump onto somebody's mobile device that's a docking station. But you're a docking station. The Chinese call this point at the top of your head the meeting of the hundreds. I love that. It's a little imaginary Teletubby aerial on the top of your head, called the meeting of the hundreds. And when you access stillness through breath control, pranayama, slow your heartbeat down and get into that gap between breaths. All the answers that you need in life are in that gap. I'll say that again. As you breathe in and then breathe out, you breathe in and then you breathe out, and at that point where it goes from in and out, it stops. And then there's another still point as well. You breathe out and you breathe in, and in that wave at the bottom of the breath where you breathe out and breathe in, there's a still point there. We've got to learn to live in that still point, to lengthen that gap, to get to the point where we're almost not breathing. And in that gap you can access all consciousness through the meeting of the hundreds. Everything that ever has been, is, ever will be, and everybody that ever has been, is, and ever will be. That's where your superpowers are, in that gap, in that still point, that gap between the breath. And if you can access that gap between your breath and also the gap between your thoughts, in other words, get to that place where there's no breathing and no thinking, just pure stillness, almost as if you're a dead body, but that's where you find your aliveness. There's more information, inspiration and power in that place, in that space, than there is doing anything or reading anything or researching anything. You've got everything that you need in that gap between your breaths and in that gap between your thoughts. That's where miracles take place. It's almost as if you've got to learn to die whilst you're still alive. Because when you go back to the source, in other words, before you were here, you didn't have this body, and when this body goes, as I say, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, earth to earth and all that. When your body decomposes at the end of this life and you're just a pure mind or a soul or a spirit or just energy, because you can't destroy the energy. We know that scientifically. You knew exactly everything before you came here, and then you're born and you come through this very poetic expression that's called a veil of forgetfulness into this incarnation. Some people remember, and I've talked before about doing past life regressions where people can have past life recall. So you've got files in your mind that still store previous experiences and future experiences. More interestingly, you can do future projection as well as past life regression, and I've done them all successfully on myself and on hundreds of clients. Fascinating knowledge available when you access that, but you've got to die to get there. Funnily enough, you can actually access all that wisdom, all that knowledge, all that power, all those dormant skills, what they call spiritual gifts, whilst you're here. That's the power of meditation. That's the power of stillness and silent training, pranayama, breath work. So I've already put on part 1 and part 2 of a meditation training within the Mr. GTV Facebook group. There are posts. You'll find those free tutorials on the Mr. GTV YouTube channel, and I'm going to be posting session 3 on New Year's Day, January the 1st 2022, which is in 2 days time, and we'll be continuing this breath work and this silence training and helping you to unlock your true potential, to understand the nature of reality, not this illusion, and certainly not this shit show that we've got in the world at the moment at the end of 2021, because trust me, it's changing every day and we don't know where we're going. Well, I've got a good idea, but that's another conversation. So if you want to find the power within, unlock your full potential and understand more about reality by exploring breath work, and keep checking back. And if you ever want to talk to me about anything personally, then all you have to do is contact me on any of the contact details where you're viewing this presentation, but those will be public. If you want a private correspondence, then email me at mike@mrmikegarner.com. Just go to mrmikegarner.com website, put it in any search engine, mrmikegarner.com, and you'll find contact Mike, and it'll send you to mike@mrmikegarner.com, and I will honour you, answer you. Talking's free. If we do a session, there's a fee, but there's tons of free stuff on Mr. GTV, which is why I'm putting it out there, because it's what's needed at the moment. Bumpy road, apologies, I'm in Thailand. Hoping very soon to get back to the UK in January, all being well, to check my progress out on getting a successful flight. I'm coming back to do some workshops and some demonstrations and some gatherings, some social events, many corporate events, which is what I'm all about. So you're very powerful, and you can access that power through stillness, through silence, in that gap, by controlling your breathing. And I encourage you to explore this. Don't just listen to this, and don't say, oh, I know this, because nobody knows everything. Don't be a guru, be a duru, and then ask yourself, if you know it, what are you going to do with it? It's amazing how many people are spiritual healers. How many people are tarot readers, or putting out there that, oh, I'm an earth angel, I'm this, I'm that. What are you doing with that? What are you doing about it? How are you contributing towards this shift? How are you contributing towards, are you healing people that are in need of it at the moment? Makes me wonder where all these church healers are, these charismatic healers are, you know, the Billy Grahams. Well, he's gone now, but there's plenty of others. Don't work in hospitals, do they? Where are all those people? Where's the church at the moment, giving spiritual comfort and guidance and succour and support in changing times with this global situation at the moment? A bit absent, aren't they? I wouldn't even call them gurus, but they're definitely not durus. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. Very enlightening, really. Very revealing, isn't it? Make sure that the person that you go for your advice, make sure that your guru is a duru. Make sure they do what they want you to do, or charge you to teach you to do. Because trust me, I do it, I can do it. I'll do it to you in front of your face, and I'll teach you to do it, and it's all free with me, Mike G, on Mr. GTV. Keep checking back, be powerful, enjoy your mind, God bless. Makes you smile, doesn't it? Keep smiling, that's the best medicine. Take care.